Division of labor has become an elemental feature in modern economy. As a result, we have become increasingly interdependent on one another. We have grown to rely on each other's services and products so much so that it's almost impossible for us to stay self-sufficient. So in this video, I'll take on a self-sufficiency challenge and try to make my own paper. On top of that, I will also evaluate the cost of making paper by myself and compare it with the market price. On my first trial, I tried to be as self-sufficient as I could by only using raw materials like grass and rocks that I gathered. However, I realized I was not able to grind the grass up with the rocks, so instead I switched to using primitive tools like scissors to cut up the grass. But soon I realized I was not able to cut them into fibers that are fine enough to form pulps, so I decided to boil my grass. But then again, I realized I lacked the skills and knowledge to make fire as well as pot. Instead, I resorted to using a stove and aluminum pan as substitutes. Even so, I couldn't turn the grass into pulp. So my first attempt ended in failure. It made me realize that the production of even the simplest item like paper requires various tools, and before we can even make our paper, we will have to come up with ways to make these tools, but very often we lack the knowledge and skills to do that. In my second attempt, I replaced the grass with leaves, as it was more fibrous. Also, instead of using scissors, I used a blender to grind up the leaves. After grinding the leaves into pulp, I use a large piece of leaf as a sieve to drain out the water in the pulp. Next, I compress the fiber into a small sheet and leave it to dry. Finally, my second attempt to make paper succeeded. Now, let's calculate the cost of production. Cheap blender, $16. Leaves, no cost. Opportunity cost, $100. Total cost, $116. But if we produce more paper, marginal cost decreases. Comparing this with paper sold in office depot. As we can see from this comparison, it would be way cheaper and easier for us to buy paper rather than making it ourselves. This explains why, when we are faced with trade-offs between economic independence and productivity, we choose productivity.